Welcome to this lesson on standards in healthcare information and quality. In this presentation, we will be covering detailed information on the LOINC and RxNorm terminologies. We will first cover content related to LOINC. LOINC is a laboratory and clinical terminology system. It's focused on observation information. LOINC was developed by the Regent Street Institute and the LOINC Committee in 1994 and has historically focused on facilitating the exchange of laboratory information, chemistry, hematology, serology, microbiology, toxicology, cell counts, antibiotic susceptibilities, etc. Subsequently, it was expanded to other clinical information class domains, such as vital signs, hemodynamics, intake and output, EKG, procedures, survey instruments, and other clinical observations and other assessments. For example, the Omaha System survey instruments, patient health questionnaire set, HHS survey, MFS survey, and so on. Also includes management data, nursing management minimum data set, and document types or attachments, ambulance reports, clinical reports, medication reports, laboratory reports, occupational therapy attachments, medical social work attachments, etc. In 2005, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services adopted LOINC as the designated structured terminology standard for names of laboratory results, medication label section headers, and Part A interventions and procedures. Also, the Meaningful Use EHR Incentive Program required the LOINC terminology for laboratory orders and results. This allows for all new laboratory orders to be generated within the standardized structure of LOINC. Once processed, all clinical laboratory tests are now required to be stored using the LOINC terminology. Through this framework, LOINC enables electronic exchange of stored structured laboratory information between processing laboratories, hospitals, and ambulatory providers. Reporting of clinical quality measures and certain reportable lab results to public health agencies is also enabled by LOINC. The focus of development today is developing mapping methodologies and embedding LOINC attributes into HL7 messages to ensure consistent exchange of health observations. LOINC terms are organized across four categorical class type domains: clinical, laboratory, attachment, and surveys. Individual terms are listed according to the component field within the appropriate class type domains. LOINC terms are organized hierarchically by system or sample, broadly thought of as the source of the analysis sample. Sorting or querying to narrow search results to desired components can be performed on either both the class type and/or system fields and in either order. LOINC data elements contain both a LOINC code and a LOINC name, which are one-to-one related. LOINC codes are unique LOINC-specific identifier between 3 and 7 characters in length, whereas the LOINC name is a fully specific name structure containing detailed descriptors of the observation. The fully specified LOINC name structure contains a maximum of 6 attributes. The LOINC fully specified name attributes include a component, which is the name of the measurement or the principal name, a property, which is the property of the measurement unit. Example is a concentration or a ratio. Time, which is the time of measurement. The system, which refers to the bottom system measurement collected from or relevant to. The scale, which is the scale of the specific measurement. For example, is it an ordinal or a narrative? And method, which is the method of the measurement capture. You can see an example of how the LOINC laboratory data can be organized in the PDF that's linked to this presentation. The copyrights for LOINC is held by the Regent Street Institute and the Logical Observation Identifiers, Names, and Codes LOINC Committee. LOINC follows an open source approach allowing for use and distribution into perpetuity. LOINC is updated twice yearly, in June and in December. Updates are posted on the website, which is included here, and can be downloaded for free. Regent Street provides RELMA, which is the Regent Street LOINC Mapping Assistant. It's a text description to LOINC mapping, both as a web-based LOINC search application and as a full downloadable application. The algorithm for this application, RELMA mapping, is very robust and provides first return matching from text queries to the correct LOINC code at about 95% of the time. The web application is useful for simple searches, whereas the full version enables mapping between local enterprise data warehouse (EDW) terms and components of HL7 messages to LOINC. LOINC is also recognized or integrated into a variety of other applications. The Consolidated Health Informatics CHI Initiative standard is included for names. LOINC is included for names of laboratory results, medication label section headers, and Part A interventions and procedures. It is integrated into the National Library of Medicine's Metathesaurus, CINAHL, ABC codes, NID SEC, logical observation identifiers, names and codes, LOINC, and SNOMED CT. It is endorsed by the American Clinical Laboratory Association. It is endorsed by the College of American Pathologists. It is adopted by many large commercial laboratories, for example, Quest and LabCorp, Mayo Medical Laboratories, and MDS Labs. It has been adopted by many large HMOs, including Kaiser Permanente and Aetna. It's an Aetna-adopted standard by many federal agencies, such as the CDC, the DoD, the VA, the National Library of Medicine, and the OMB. It's been adopted by governments, including Germany, Switzerland, and 2 Canadian provinces. It's recognized from different governmental bodies and standards development organizations, including the American National Standards Institute, HL7, DICOM, Accredited Standards Committee. It's included in the Office of the National Coordinator has requirements for meaningful use. It has been recommended by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and it's become required for the EHR incentive program as to be included as part of structured data. And there are a variety of resources related to accessing and learning more about LOINC, and the web addresses are included on this slide. Next, we will turn to the terminology RxNorm. RxNorm is a derived terminology for clinical drugs that normalizes clinical drug information from common drug vocabularies, including the National Drug File reference terminology, the NDF-RT, and the end result of the normalization process aims to describe and catalog drugs from the prescriber point of view, ingredient plus strength plus dose plus form. Originally, RxNorm was developed as an experiment within the Veterans Health Administration to address problems of granularity, to record completeness, having meaningful identifiers, and uniqueness of identifiers. The current goal of RxNorm is to facilitate electronic communication of drug-related information efficiently and unambiguously, while also supporting semantic interoperability between drug terminologies and pharmacy knowledge-based systems. Today, RxNorm is a standard for clinical information exchange of generic and branded clinical drugs and drug packs. However, RxNorms does not cover radiopharmaceuticals, contrast media, food, dietary supplements, and medical devices. RxNorm has multiple levels of description and relationships, enabling RxNorm to integrate drug information from multiple sources for a variety of purposes, including health information exchange, pharmacy management, and drug interaction software. The normalization approach used by RxNorm stores generic and branded drugs in a way that reflects and preserves the original meanings, drug names, attributes, and relationships. RxNorm is populated from the following 11 source terminologies: the Gold Standard Drug Database, Metaspan Master Drug Database, Medical Subject Headings, Multi-Metasource Lexicon, Micromedics Red Book, the Metathesaurus Food and Drug Administration National Drug Code Directory, FDA Structured Product Labels, FDB MedKnowledge, Veterans Health Administration National Drug File Reference Terminology, SNOMED CT, and the Veterans Health Administration National Drug File. RxNorm links drug vocabularies to each other by name and identifier at the concept level by unique RxNorm concept, unique identifier. Specifically, an RxNorm concept, RxCUI, represents a unique drug form, ingredient, strength, and name combination and is composed of these required same fields. RxNorm is formed by the National Library of Medicine in the following manner. First, group source data by concepts, a collection of synonyms. Second, create normalized RxNorm name for each unique, unambiguous concept in the following order: ingredient, strength, dose form, and brand name, which is optional. 3. Assign RxNorm a concept unique identifier, RxCUI, to each concept and an RxNorm atom unique identifier, RxAUI, to each atom. 4th, designate relationships to other synonymous drug names and ingredients, identifiers, for example, national drug codes, manufacturer, and pill size attributes. And finally, create a map graph of concepts and relationships to other RxNorm using links, has dose form, ingredient of, ISA, has ingredient, etc. Structurally, RxNorm is organized slightly different by standard and PAC medications. The structure of most semantic SCD, SBD medication follows in, strength, DF, brand name, where IN equals the ingredient, precise ingredient, or multiple ingredients, DF is the drug form, and BN is the brand name, which is optional. The structure of PAC medications is usually a combination of SCD/SBD medications. The relationships between RxNorm components are reciprocal and normalized. The key components forming these relationships are found in the following tables of the RxNorm download, listed below. Here is a model of the structure of RxNorm. The structure of RxNorm contains ingredient, strength, dose form, brand name, term type, and relational attributes. RxNorm follows a term type in source TTY data model, which indicates the role of an attribute to its source terminology. Term type TTY to indicate generic and branded drug names at different levels of specificity. The National Library of Medicine produces RxNorm and provides free licenses in the United States. RxNorm is updated weekly on Wednesday, with full releases available on the first Monday of each month. RxNorm updates is updated by NLM. They are released on the first Monday of every month. The UMLS provides updated RxNorm files twice yearly in May and November, along with its other knowledge sources. RxNorm updates are posted at the links on this slide, and the UMLS knowledge sources are posted on this second link, and both of them can be downloaded for free. RxNav is the official free browser of RxNorm and displays NLM-created names and allows for each by NDCs and by proprietary codes. Another RxNorm application is called RxNorm API, which is a web-based service for accessing the RxNorm dataset from personal computer-based programs. There are also other APIs, including RxTerms, My Medication List, and My RxPad. RxNorm is recommended by the Healthcare Information Technology Standards Panel as the designated vocabulary to represent medication brand name, medication clinical drug name, and allergy adverse event products. It is integrated into the Consolidated Health Informatics Initiative Standard for clinical drugs. It's included in the 2014 EHR certification criteria for vocabulary for medications. It's integrated into the National Library of Medicine's Metathesaurus, as well as a variety of other systems. The United States Department of Health and Human Services recommended it as the standard terminology. It's recommended to be adopted as the primary drug identifier in the e-prescribing systems created by the RAND Corporation. And it's the integration of any RxNorm source vocabulary into EHR currently meets compliance with meaningful use. There are a variety of other resources available for learning more about RxNorm, and those links are provided on this slide.